Greetings, YouTube. As I've mentioned to people in the past, I collect knives. Weapons in general, but knives in particular. And I've been doing so since I was 12 when I got my first Boy Scout pocket knife. Which I actually don't have any idea where it is. But I've got them all over the place. And over the years I've collected some that have fallen into the category of favorites, or neat, or just sentimental. For example, this one right here, very simple silver knife. This was my grandfather's, and it's got my name and birth date and my cousin Cress's birth date, name and birth date engraved in it. And he was born 3 months after I was, and we were the first two grandchildren in the family. My father and his sister apparently were in a race. My father won. I was the first grandchild on either side of the family. And this knife was kept by my grandfather next to his leisure chair in the living room for decades, for his whole life, for my whole life, until he died. And my father inherited it after he passed on. This one right here is a knife coin, and it was gotten by a friend of mine in Europe, and it's given to a gift to me because he knows I collect knives. This one right here is an all plastic knife designed for some cutting, but mostly for penetration. And yes, this will go right through a metal detector. They are legal to own. They are normally sold as letter openers, not as knives. And this particular knife is still available. And I actually have one that from the same company that was marketed in the 70s, and it was marketed as a home defense device, and for backup weapon for police officers and stuff. Completely politically incorrect marketing techniques. Nothing that we would ever consider acceptable now. But this is like $4 or $5 online, so they're really easy to get a hold of. And I have handmade knives as well. This one right here is a lovely little utility knife that a friend of mine, who in the Society for Creative Anachronism goes by the name of Damien the Magyar. And it's got some, I don't know if you can see that, it's got some file work on the spine right here. A little texture for your, and it's got a little file work down here so you can really snug up on this blade. The beautiful thing with this handle shape is it really fits your hand. It fits the natural curve of your hand, and this is a natural antler that he happened to have. So this is a really good, and you can get right in there if you want to work on something tight. And it's a good utility blade. I've used it as such in historical events. And it's got some nice belly right in here, the belly for cutting. So it's a good length and a good size and good comfort. And he's got some wood in here as a transitional piece because he didn't feel that the antler was quite long enough for what he wanted it to do. And I think it gives it a nice visual appearance. I also have other commercial blades, like this one right here, right there, is from the Columbia River and Knife Company, which it says CRKT right there in the little logo. And I like this blade because it is a classic Japanese armor-piercing design. And yeah, I know that the possibility of me ever actually having to penetrate someone wearing armor is zero, but it's a cool shape, and it's very, very shiny. And I freely admit that there's a bit of the ooh shiny when it comes to a knife. And it's got a faux, it's injected plastic, but it's got a faux sharkskin grip here because a real one would have been wrapped in sharkskin, which is a wonderful appearing leather, and it also has a natural abrasive quality. In fact, you can use sharkskin as sandpaper, and it was used because it gave a great grip, even if your hand was wet. For example, because it was you were soaked in blood. But we all have our favorite blades. The one that our collection is, the one you had to keep no matter what. This would be the one you'd keep. And this right here is mine. This right here, see, it's full tang, goes all the way up. It's fairly thick. If you look at the spine, that is not a thin spine. And this, believe it or not, it used to be a Ford truck spring. Yes, even Ford can produce useful tools. And this is made in the classic shape of a parang, kind of, which is, you know, it's not, it's an agricultural tool, which is why it's very machete-like, but tip heavy, like a kukri, for chopping, for large, fast blows, and you're going to hit here, you know, right about there where my thumb is, and you're going to do some really major energy transfer into whatever the heck you're hitting. Good for clearing brush, and of course useful in combat. And I've told my wife that in the event I'm ever dying on my deathbed, this is the blade I want in my hand when I pass. Because just in the case I ever achieve entrance into Valhalla, I want to make sure I have a good blade in my hand. And then I have another commercial one, and this is just in case, you know, the zombies ever do rise. You need a really big blade.